So, hello, Sharif here, and today is I'm planning on this being the last of the live streams for 2023. Um, I usually use the last couple of weeks in the calendar year. Let me see if I can get some of my lights working differently here. Um, I use the last couple of weeks in the calendar year to reflect on what Commonwealth has done for the year and reflect on what Commonwealth is going to do for next year. And I think that'll be a good time to do that. And I invite everybody to do that in their own lives. But I also invite everyone to do that in our shared common life in 3D reality on this planet at this time in the conditions that we find ourselves in. Some of us find ourselves in some very fortunate lives. I was just reading something recently that said if you got food in your stomach and food in your refrigerator and a roof over your head, you're doing really, really well, and you should um, express your gratitude for that as opposed to thinking about how terrible everything is. Um, and at the same time recognizing that if you do have that going for you, if you do have um, the food to eat, and you do have the roof over your head, and you do have the companionship of others, um, then you've got the wherewithal to help make life better for the billions and billions of other human beings and the billions and billions of uh, all other beings, let's say trillions and trillions. And we can do that if we apply ourselves. And if we don't apply ourselves, something will happen and you won't get a whole lot to say about it. Okay, before I get launch into my theme for today is 2024, upcoming year, the year that it happens. Um, let's do what we normally do around this time, which is our 5 minute meditation. I've got my timer out and I'm ready to rock and roll here. No, I'm ready to meditate here. And I'm going to set our moving banner also to reflect how we are meditating. Um, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that. I do. I'm going to set our candle also um, to give you something to look at besides me. And take a deep breath. Take another one. Let's do a third, really deep. Let it out with a sigh. And if you are ready to come back to our center, you can open your eyes. You can rejoin us. You can turn off our banner there. And we can talk about is 2024 the year that it happens? It meaning, actually meaning two different things. 2024 being the year that all the culmination of issues, of challenges, of all of the things that have been impacting us, we have been feeling for the longest time that all of this is pushing us towards some kind of change. For those of us who have not been paying attention to what I've been talking about, that change looks a lot like the end of the world. Okay. For those of us who have been paying attention, it looks like the transformation of our world. It looks like our world is going to transform from the large pockets of dysfunction, of not of the world not working and not working in profound ways. Now we move away from that and we move toward something that works for all living beings. But the way that it works may be very, very different from anything that we have been, that we're used to, anything that we have been seeing on our future, anything that we have been envisioning. Now, you know that I've been saying for the longest time that we as a society, we as a I don't want to say a people because we're not a people. We're lots and lots of different people, and lots of us are fighting with each other. But a lot of whatever humanity means, a lot of us have been saying, "Oh yes, we're in the end times, or we're in the beginning times," and not giving a great deal of thought to that. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, who say, "Oh, we're hopeless. Humanity is doomed. We might as well um, just, get high and enjoy ourselves because there's nothing else coming down the road for us." Many of us have our hopes pinned on there being some techno fix, that our technology is going to get us through our stupidity. Um, as opposed to recognizing that our technology is just as stupid as the people who make it, and we will suffer the unforeseen conditions that will come up because we haven't really been paying attention. We haven't put our wisdom and our technology together. Um, for the longest time, I've been saying something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. I don't know what is going to happen. I feel that it gets closer and closer to a culmination point. I'm literally reading my tea leaves, but I'm also looking at the conditions in the world. I'm looking at, for example, the number of countries that are countries, not people, not groups of people. I'm talking about entire nations underwater. Um, Underwater on a financial sense. Some of them, like the Maldives, underwater in a practical sense. They'll be swamped by all of the things going on with global climate change. Everyone is looking for a personal solution to that. When I was doing the series, Riding the Waves, I was talking about the different waves that we would be facing as we face our transition into a new society. People were asking me for individual solutions. Sharif, where are you going to go live? What are you doing with your money? What are you doing for your security? How many guns you got? Etc. And I would keep saying to them, our solution will be collective. Our solution will be communal. Our solution will come to all of us together. Um, and a lot of people just said, "Oh, he's keeping it to himself. He's not telling the rest of us." Or I don't have an answer, or let me just go and ask somebody else. Then you know, should I buy more land and buy more guns? One of the reasons why um, I wrote the Chronicles of the Upheavals is because I wanted us to engage in a conversation. Um, and the conversation is using this as a marker for our what our future could look like, what our near future, the next 100 years could look like. How do we fit into that picture? You can disagree with me that this is what our future looks like. Great, then let's have a conversation around that. You can agree with me that this is our future, but not know how to achieve that. Great, then we can have a conversation about that. When I wrote this book, The Chronicles of the Upheavals, and its sequel, The Chronicles of the Awakening, I didn't get the conversation. And I'm not sure why I didn't get the conversation. It's not because people didn't believe that the stuff that's in the book can't happen. I've gotten any pushback on this is not possible. This is not practical. This is not doable. When the people talk about it, yeah, that's definitely doable. That's definitely what we could be looking at. But people don't engage in the conversation. If this is what we're looking at, what do we do about that? How do we deal with this? If it's something that you want, and there are lots of things in the book that we should want, okay, these are non-technology driven solutions. And by say non-technology, not a technology that needs to be developed. A lot of this is very old technology, very, very old technology. How do you make fire? Isn't that an interesting question? Most of you say you get yourself a Bic lighter and you flick your Bic and then you got fire. Great. What happens if you don't have a Bic lighter? Well, you just get some matches and you strike them and you got fire. Say, okay, yeah, what happens if you don't have matches? How many of us as human beings know how to make the most fundamental thing in the lives of a human being? The thing that makes us human is the thing that separates us from all other living beings on this planet because there's lots and lots of beings that have language. You can just watch how they communicate, and you watch that they're communicating. They're using some kind of a language, even if we can't hear it. Lots of beings know how to use tools. I was watching a YouTube video of an orangutan using a saw the right way. They had a piece of wood and they were sawing it, and they weren't building anything. They just like they like sawing, So so lots of beings can use tools. Lots of them make their own tools up like crows. Lots of beings use language. But the thing that human beings can do that no other being can do, has done yet, is make fire. And for most of the humans on the planet now, we've lost the ability to do that without this piece of technology in the way. And so our challenge is, how do we connect with each other, connect with our own past, connect with our real needs, connect with each other in such a way that we start satisfying our own and our real needs? How do we use what's about to happen as an opportunity for us to grow into a larger sense of self? Okay, so that's all one way of looking at things. The other way of looking at things, and this is the part that I will be dealing with in the next couple of weeks or so. I use, as I said before, I use this time to think about my own personal future, but also to think about our future. And when this year happened, I was as I was finishing, I got all my books right here, Birthing the Nation of Gaia. As I was finishing writing this book, I was gearing up for a big push to create some momentum and eventually a movement around, let's actually build the nation that all 8 billion of us can fit in. The one without any borders, the one without any exclusivity, the one without any separations, the one that we can all open our hearts and live in. And I started doing the actions to build that kind of momentum. And it did not build. If you look at so I've been doing live streams for about half of the year, and you look at the numbers of the people who have attended live on the live stream, and then you look at the numbers of the people who have participated in the live stream through the recordings, and those numbers have not gone up. They get to around 100, sometimes 150, then they start sliding back the other way. I've asked all of you to share the videos with people in your circles, to buzz it up, to talk about it, etc. And people don't. It is not. It's not as interesting to people. The people who watch this, is not as interesting as the latest cat video, because that you'll send to a whole bunch of people. But this doesn't get talked about. Now, I could take this personally, like, oh, this is because you don't like men with bald heads. But I had something that happened some years ago that I think is more our um, our challenge. Um, an organization I've worked with over several decades, which is the Institute of Noetic Sciences, had a cruise. This is my first and only cruise, and I was speaking there, and I learned an awful lot. If you, we could do a whole session on the things I learned not to do on a cruise. Um, but one of the things I noticed was that there were like maybe 1,000, maybe 500 or so ions people on the boat. But there's another 2 or 3 thousand other people who are just there to drink, look at the water, and drink some more. And we had these buttons on that said ions, and I was watching the regular people who'd look at the button and say, "Oh, gee, what's ions? What's that about? What are you people doing here? How are you?" And I watched people not answer the question. I watched people not engage. I never saw anyone come up with any kind of a cogent answer. When they asked me, I told them, Institute of Noetic Sciences is a organization that focuses on consciousness. Like, oh, that's interesting. I said, yeah, started by the astronaut Edgar Mitchell. Oh, that's interesting. And yeah, we're here to talk about consciousness and how we can enhance our consciousness. Oh, wow, good luck with that. I when I engaged, I always got positive feedback, positive connections. But that was me engaging. I think people did not engage with that, and they don't engage with this because they're afraid. And I don't mean they're afraid that people in the elevator were, oh, you're with ions? We hate ions. We're going to beat you up and start fighting in the elevator. That I don't think people were afraid of that. I think that people were afraid of how they would look. I think they were afraid that people would make fun of them, would laugh at them, would not take them seriously, would judge them in some way. And the way you avoid that is just keep your lips closed and smile, and hopefully the elevator will get to its floor in a couple of minutes. Act like you don't hear, like, oh, did somebody say something? And so I think that people don't forward these live streams. Oh, you're the only one that can answer this question. But I think that people don't forward the live streams because you don't want to answer those kinds of questions. Now, I know folks who do that, who they're out there, they're constantly out there. They will recommend the books, they'll recommend the videos, they'll recommend the readings, they are involved. I believe that we have to overcome that. I believe that we have to I've been working on overcoming that for so long. It's natural for me. I mean, like, if I'm in the supermarket, if I can get somebody in the line in front of me or in back of me to talk for like more than 10 seconds, I'm going to start talking to them about the conditions of the world and how we can change them. That is always, regardless of the person I'm talking to, that's always something that gets their attention. So, and again, no, it's too strong. I've rarely had anybody push back at me or get angry at me or get disturbed or anything like that. And if they are disturbed, they were disturbed before I started talking. So our challenge is, and this is our challenge for 2024. Am I willing to put my mouth where my intention is? If I intend to live in a world that works for all, am I willing to start talking about living in a world that works for all? If I intend to see things differently, am I willing to tell other people I see things differently? Those are the words I use, regardless of who wants to engage me in a political conversation. That's the first thing I tell them. I'm not part of this. I am not on the right. I am not on the left. I'm above all of that stuff. Now, let me tell you what's happening up here. And once you get there, once you say, I'm not on the right, I'm not on the left, if people actually hear what you're saying, they are coming up here with you and agreeing. And that's how the world changes. Now, whether or not so this is the last of our live streams for the rest of 2023. When I come back, we're going to have a different format. Now remember, Countdown to Gaia is the second format I've had. I'm going to try another format. I'm going to keep trying to get people engaged enough to actually participate. And I mean participate more than sending a note saying, thanks a lot for doing this, Sharif. It's like, thanks a lot for doing this, Sharif, and tell me what I can do right now from where I am, and let's see if we can do something together. And can you come out to my neighborhood, my church, my gathering place, and talk to all of us? Can you talk to my family? What are the ways that we are going to actually get this work connected? And understand that when it starts to roll, it's going to roll very quickly. It's going to roll really fast. It's going to be less than, well, I've spent a lot of time. I'm ready. If you spend a lot of time, you're ready, which is really great. And if you haven't spent a lot of time, you can spend a lot of time now. One of the things that I'm just about done. I'm going over a few minutes because I don't have Thursday to pick up the slack on. So one of the things I want you to think about is how you spend your time. One of the things that an offer that I've made that some of you have picked up on, and I'm very happy about that, is to share in the videos that are in the Commonway Video Vault. Now, I've put these together in such a way that if you just want, so from now until the beginning of the year, if you just want to check out a couple of workshop series, like say 1 or 2 workshop series, then you can sign up for the basic level and you'll have your choice of a number of workshops, and you should take 1, take 2. If you want to take a deeper dive, then you can go to the advanced level, and several people are at the advanced level, and that gives them access to it'll come out to around about 100 hours worth of materials. I don't repeat myself. So this is a lot of information, a lot of ways of thinking about how the world works. Um, and then there's the premium level. At the rate things are going, I'm not suggesting anybody do the premium level. This is drinking from the fire hose, and I am not recommending that you try doing that. That's lots and lots and lots of time, and it's, I think, a well, try the advanced level first. And if you say to me, I've absorbed it, I really want the rest of it, I'll you can then get the premium level, and I'll knock off your advanced levels um, payment. So I'll discount it by that much. Okay. And for those of you who are uh, who buy either basic or advanced or premium levels, you're going to get one of the three what I call pocketbooks here, and Searching for Depth is a small book of wisdom I put together over a decade ago. Sips from the River of Wisdom are sayings and quotes and teachings over 3,000 years that I compiled in a very small book. And then Be More Silent being the poetry lessons of Rumi, the lessons that have been most meaningful for me. And for the first 20 people who sign up for the um, the video vault, you'll get that. For the paid subscriptions to the video vault, you'll get that. And I still have some left, so go for it. I am looking forward to doing something with you in the new year. I think one of the things that I'm going to be doing is another short workshop series, and you'll hear more about that in a week or so. I'm going to be doing more weekly free videos. I don't know if they're going to be live or not. The live presentation just hasn't been lively enough for me. But I'll be doing something. As we are working together, we have to recognize that we really are working together. So you have a good holiday time, and you also have a good new year, and I'll see you on the other side of the new year. May all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. And that all applies to you. Thanks a lot. I will see you in the new year.